Hi everybody, welcome to the Signal Box today. It's great to have you with me. Big shout out to my regular viewers and subscribers. If this is your first time here, please feel free to look around the channel and have a look at the different videos I've got on the channel. If you like what you see and you wish to, please hit the like and subscribe button. It's greatly appreciated. Anyway, we'll crack on with today's video. So, normally once a week, usually on Saturdays, which is the only time I get to have the railway running, I make a video. Well, yesterday I didn't do that because, quite frankly, it was too hot. We're in the middle of a mini heat wave over in the UK, and it was just too hot to set everything up and then tear down everything afterwards. So unfortunately there was no trains yesterday, but I'd used my time wisely and I came up with a little diorama idea. Now, if you remember back to one of my recent videos around Father's Day, I was given by my little girl, who's not quite so little anymore, she'll be 12 soon, and she's almost towering over me. She got me for Father's Day a little set of model firemen for my fire station. Now the thing is, because there was a lot of fine scale fiddly work involved, and because of the location on the baseboard where the fire station would sit, it would mean leaning over to fix things in place, and a lot of fine scale work. It was virtually impossible to do unless I had the baseboard standing up on its end in storage, which I could have done it that way, but not really a great idea to work vertically on something that should be horizontal. So I came up with this. So if I just spin this around a little bit, I'll talk you through. Obviously the firemen are provided by a separate model shop company, which I'm really pleased with. And obviously the fire station building is an old Hornby Scaledale building, but everything else is scratch built. The fireman's hose is a piece of red speaker cable wire that's been split from its black counterpart and just left on its own in red, and obviously stripped down to the right size. Scale wise, it's the correct size, believe it or not. And the nozzle for the hose was just a simple cable connector put on there and crimped into place. And you might ask, how on earth did you achieve that water effect? Well, I found that by accident last night. Well, not really by accident, but it's just a little brainwave. Again, an inspiration. I'm pretty sure that it's inspiration because it just comes to me. And I had lying in my kitchen drawer, you know those brushes that you use for baking, those glazing brushes you use at home in the kitchen for glazing cakes and bakery stuff. It's like a little brush you can glaze egg white and stuff like that on your cooking. I had one of those in the drawer that was falling to pieces, and the strands of it, I thought if I put them together it would look like water coming out at high pressure from the hose. So that's exactly what I did, and then I coated the whole thing in a little bit of clear resin to give it that wet look. And especially when a high power jet of water hits a flat surface, it sprays out at the end, obviously. So that I've achieved with that. And yeah, the firemen are actually on a training exercise today. So as you can see over there with the white helmet on, that is Captain Flack. And then moving round next to him from right to left, there's Hugh Pugh. Next to him is McGrew. Over there is Cuthbert. On the hose is Dibble. And then on the ladder is Fireman Grubb. And we've got some smoke coming out of the training tower there today. Some rubbish has been temporarily set on fire just to do some training there with the lads today. The ladder is an old Hornby signal post ladder that I found in my spares box, which I thought that would do the job. That's passable, just for training purposes. The base is just some balsa wood that I've cut to size and glued yesterday and just painted with some ordinary Humbrol model grey paint. And obviously the hose needs to have a water source. Obviously if there's water coming out the end of it, needs to be a water source. So we've got a standpipe built into the concrete, which is basically a piece of off-cut plastic. And then the standpipe itself is just a piece of off-cut sprue from an old model kit fret that I had. You know everything when you buy a model kit, it all comes on what's called a fret, and you have to cut each part off the fret. Well, I just basically cut a piece of fret off and cut it to the shape of a standpipe, and then painted it. And then on the end I put some heat shrink rubber material and just heat shrunk it on the end of the hose and then onto the end of the standpipe, and hey presto, we've got an instant standpipe for the water supply for the training today. You'll also notice where the hose is, there's a little bit of sparkly wet surface. That again is a bit of resin just dabbed on there to simulate an accumulation of water obviously coming out where he's standing there spraying the hose or kneeling with the hose. It's a training exercise, and old Fireman Dibble there is a little bit out of his aim there with the water hose and needs to bring his aim up a little bit more. He's going to do that in the middle because they've just switched the stand pump on and the water's come rushing out, so now he's going to aim the hose further up the building to where the smoke's coming out the window, and no doubt he will spray Fireman Grub with the water as well whilst he's at it, which will all be a hilarious laugh for everybody else, I'm sure, but not to the amusement of Captain Flack, who was watching rather seriously from a distance of what his chaps are doing. Anyway, I think that looks really good. I'm really super pleased with that. And obviously the idea with my diorama is it can be very simply easy lifted on and off the layout in that space. I've already measured the distance between there to there, obviously, before I made it, so I know exactly it's going to fit in that footprint where it's going to go, just behind the railway station, and I think that's great. And also I've left room on purpose at the front there. I've put some tyre marks and some oil marks here to simulate where the fire engine is going to sit inside the building, or it's going to be parked outside normally. There's space for that there, I've allowed for that. Everything is glued in place, but yeah, I'm very, very pleased with that so far today. I think it looks great. But yeah, what's the inspiration behind this? Well, obviously two things really. I mean, primarily where I used to live, there was a fire station, and an old fire station building which is no longer there. And the other inspiration behind this diorama is I grew up as a very small child in the UK. There was a wonderful program that you can only see now on YouTube if you look it up. It's called Trumpton, and I always remember, and anyone who grew up in the UK watching Trumpton, no matter what, you always, it's stuck in, it's seared into the memory of your brain. If you're a kid who grew up in the UK watching Trumpton as a small child in the 70s, one thing that you will remember is the fireman roll call from the fire station. Was it Hugh, Pew, Barney McGrew, Cuthbert Dibble, Grub? That was it. I always remember that, and one of the first things I memorised word by word as a kid was the fireman roll call from Trumpton. So this could be a little bit of a homage to Trumpton Fire Station. But yeah, really pleased with these figures, and they look even better when you put them out on your model. They are really, really high quality. Very, very good. They're meant to be 1970s/80s firemen. Unfortunately, I couldn't get them in the black uniform, but I think they're passable for my era, which is the early 60s on my layout, so I think that's passable. But yeah, really pleased with that, and I think everything looks absolutely good. I suppose if I really wanted to go sort of really another way, you can drill a hole in the bottom of this diorama. Where is it? You could drill a hole underneath directly through the tower, just here, a small drill hole, and then you can feed some LEDs, some orange LEDs with some flickering diodes on the end of it, and then wire the whole thing up to a power supply and have the lights flickering within the bits of cotton wool there to simulate flames. But we don't really want like a towering inferno situation. We just want a little bit of smoke coming out of there to simulate that there is a fire going on in the training tower, and Fireman Grub's going up there to have a look how bad it is. And then on the ground, Fireman Dibble has just got ready with the hose, and he's going to direct that up and put the flames out, put the fire out, and no doubt soak Fireman Grub as well. Anyways, that's me done for today. I'll get this uploaded, and hopefully in the next video we'll have this out on the layout and we'll have some trains running. I'm just really excited at the moment because in the next week or so we should have the J67 Great Eastern buck jumpers arrived from Accurascale. I've got one coming from Rails of Sheffield that I ordered, which is the one in ultramarine blue, and the other two are coming direct from Accurascale, so it's going to be fun. Anyway, until then, have a lovely day to all of you out there, wherever you're watching from, and yeah, I'll see you soon in the next video. Take care, all the best now, goodbye.